Welcome back to our conversation about artificial intelligence with Dr. Joy Buolamwini. So you're the daughter of an artist and a scientist. Let's take back to your early years, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. How you had an interest in this from the start, didn't you?
In some ways. So when I moved to the United States from Ghana, my dad was a professor at Ole Miss. And so I would actually go to his lab and he would have cancer cells. He was a professor of medicinal chemistry and pharmaceutical sciences. So he focused a lot on researching drugs to help with cancer and then later also heart disease as well. I didn't know any of what was going on. I just knew it was fun to be in his office feeding cancer cells and that kind of thing. He wanted me to get interested in the chemistry side, and I was more interested in the big computers that were all around us processing the data. But from a very young age, especially with that role model as my father as a scientist, there was no question in my mind if I could do science or tech through that.
And you taught yourself how to code when you were a young person? Tell me about that.
Oh, well, mainly I wanted to get free stuff, so I started building websites and so forth. So for my
How old were you?
So when I first started coding, probably 9-ish or something like that, but
Oh my gosh,
more
9
so
years
middle
old.
school. Then high school was when I could code a website and get my basketball shoes, covered.
You were a sports star as well in high school,
I used
right?
to pole vault, I used to play basketball, I used to do cross country.
Okay, all right. Tell us about your first experience being unseen by a robot or a computer program.
So I remember being an undergrad at Georgia Tech, and I was actually working on a robot called Simon. And I was trying to play peekaboo with the robot. The idea was, let's engage a robot in a turn-taking game, right? Joint attention, that sort of thing. Peekaboo doesn't work if your partner doesn't see you, and my partner was not detecting my face. So at that time, I didn't have the white mask. I had a roommate with red hair, green eyes, light skin. So I had her test the system. I think the code is right. Wow. So maybe it's the face. So when we tried her face, it worked, right? And I got my project going, and I didn't think too much of it, which is why by the time I got to MIT, I was like, wait, I've encountered this before. I thought we were making progress. Is somebody else going to speak up about this? I'm looking around. Okay, it might be me.
Now, talking about speaking up, that's why you started the Algorithmic Justice League. Talk about the advocacy piece of that effort.
Yeah, so after the experience of coding in a white mask, after the research came out and all of that, I thought it would be important to have an organization that was specifically looking at raising issues of AI bias, whether it's hiring, right? Your resume is being screened out because it has women's college on it, or you're not in line to get a kidney transplant because of your race, those sorts of things. And then I also wanted to make sure that there was a place people could go if they've been hurt by AI systems. And so at that time, most people didn't even know about AI harm. So those were the motivations for starting the Algorithmic Justice League. And it sounded cool.
It does sound, it's your superpower.
All
right?
good.
All day. Okay. So AI is really changing so fast. Eventually people are concerned that some careers might be misplaced by AI. In fact, we've had conversations here at Channel 5 about how AI can duplicate our voices. Is that going to make people who have announcing careers obsolete? So what career advice do you give students who are looking to the future?
I think, first of all, it's really important not to cede the basics to AI. So what I get concerned is when people are using prompts and so forth to write something for you or to speak, you're actually not developing those skills, those core capacities. And so I almost think about it like developing professional calluses. I used to play guitar, and when I picked it up recently, my fingers didn't hurt. Why? Because I put in the reps. And so I think it's really important for everybody to remember it's still critical that you gain core skills, even if those skills are being automated. So critical thinking skills, communication skills are always going to be important. I actually almost thought I could have AI voice duplicate do the audiobook. No, not
No,
even close.
It sounds a little robotic.
It was just, I didn't, so the thing was, I didn't understand that doing an audiobook wasn't just reading out loud. It's actually a performance. And so once I started working,
emotion.
exactly. So once I started working with a professional voice actor, I realized, oh, it's so easy to underestimate something you're not familiar with and assume it can easily be automated. When you're presenting the news, it's not just that it's your voice, it's your
nuance.
insight. Yeah.
It's the tone of voice.
There's
That's
so
right.
many pieces.
It's the pause.
And it's you.
Yeah.
It's a human being who cares about the topics, right? And so there are certain elements of it that I think we should say we want to preserve.
Now you're working on another documentary, looking for more stories of the Excoded, and talk about what's next and what's your biggest fear as we move into this world.
I think, and even going back to what you were mentioning earlier about job replacement, my biggest fears aren't about AI itself, but the stories we tell about AI, which is why we do the documentaries and so forth. So one example, you had NEDA, the National Eating Disorder Association. They decided to fire their call center workers as they were trying to unionize and replace them with a chatbot. I think that was on a Monday. By Friday or Saturday, the next headline was chatbot shut down. Why? The chatbot was actually giving information known to make eating disorders worse.
Oh my goodness.
So not only did they reduce their workforce, but they compromised their mission.
Yeah.
Not because of the actual capabilities of AI, but because of the stories they believed about AI.
Wow.
And so that's what I'm concerned about.
That's a great example of how we just need to pay close attention as we move into this world. Dr. Joy, thank you so much for being here today.